Most people are not investing to win. They are investing to feel like they're not falling behind. I am Lady T in for Citizen T. Today you're going to walk away with something concrete. You will understand growth investing versus dividend and value investing. Not just in theory, but in a way that lets you actually build a portfolio with intent. This is how we win. Before we go any further, a quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor and this isn't financial advice. Use this as perspective, not instruction. And always do your own research. Now let's strip this down to reality. There are two dominant approaches to investing: growth and value dividend. Most people think they understand this. They don't. Because they've never been forced to choose. Growth investing is simple to describe. You buy assets that are expected to become significantly more valuable over time, not because they are cheap today, but because they are expanding. Revenue grows, markets expand, dominance increases. In practice, a lot of people access this through something like VOO, the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. VOO represents the 500 largest companies in the US. You're not picking winners. You're buying the system that produces them. These companies, large tech, healthcare, industrial leaders, are built to grow. They reinvest profits instead of distributing them. So when you own VOO, you are effectively saying, I believe the top companies in America will continue to expand over time. That's the bet. Now flip to the other side. Dividend and value investing. This is where people shift from waiting to collecting. You buy companies that generate strong cash flow today and share it. A real-world example, SCHD, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. SCHD selects companies with strong financials and a history of paying dividends. Not hype, not future promise, current performance. When you hold SCHD, you receive regular payments, quarterly cash, real money. That changes how investing feels. Now here is where most explanations stop, but we're not stopping there. Because this isn't about labels, it's about how the system actually works. There's a concept you need to understand. Ownership-based pay, OBP. It means your income is tied to ownership, not just work. Most people live entirely on labor. They trade time for money. But the system is structured to reward ownership far more aggressively. Investing is how you step into that system, even if your job never offers it. So when you buy VOO, you're buying into national economic expansion. When you buy SCHD, you're buying income-producing assets. Both are forms of ownership, but they behave very differently over time. Now we go deeper. Growth investing operates on one core truth. Compounding is strongest when left undisturbed. Let's make that real. If an investment grows at 10% annually, $10,000 becomes roughly $11,000 in year 1, $16,000 in year 5, over $25,000 in year 10. But that only works if you leave it alone. Growth requires patience. And patience is rare because people see volatility, they see drops, they panic. So they interrupt compounding. Now here's the hidden risk. Growth investing depends on the future outperforming expectations. If growth slows or the market resets, you feel it immediately. And sometimes violently. That's not a flaw. That's the cost of upside. Now let's contrast that with dividend investing. The core principle here is different. Cash flow reduces dependence on timing. If you own SCHD and it yields around 3%, that means on $100,000 invested. You're generating about $3,000 per year in income, without selling anything. That matters, because now your return doesn't rely entirely on price increases. You are being paid to hold. That changes behavior. People who rely on dividends tend to panic less. Why? Because they're still getting paid. But there's a trade-off. Dividend-focused portfolios often grow slower. You are sacrificing some future acceleration for present stability. That is the tension, acceleration, or extraction. And here is the truth most people never confront. You cannot optimize for both at the same time. You must choose a dominant direction. Now let's say this clearly, if you don't define your strategy, you will drift into one. And drifting produces average results, at best. Here's the declarative statement. The market does not reward confusion. Now let's ground this with total return. This is the principle most people ignore. Return is not just price appreciation, it's everything combined. Let's compare. VOO grows at an average of say 9 to 10% over time. SCHD may grow slower, perhaps 6 to 8%, but adds 3 to 4% income. The difference is not obvious at first glance, but over long periods, small percentage differences compound massively, which brings us back to reality. Time is the multiplier. But not everyone has time. This is where honesty matters. You may be starting late, you may need income sooner, you may face uncertainty that forces liquidity that is real. And no strategy eliminates that. So we return to control. You cannot control the market, you cannot control economic cycles, but you can control what you buy, why you hold it, And when you break your own rules, that's it, and that's enough. Now let's go practical. If you are in a wealth building phase, early to mid-career, growth tends to dominate. Why? Because time amplifies expansion. VOO becomes a powerful tool. You're riding the growth of the largest companies in the world. You accept volatility because you have time to recover. Now, if you are moving toward income stability or you need cash flow, SCHD becomes more relevant. It introduces predictability. It reduces the need to sell assets. And that matters psychologically as much as financially. But here's where people make a critical mistake. They switch too often. They chase growth in bull markets and flee to dividends in downturns. That behavior destroys returns because compounding requires consistency, not perfection. Now let's address something uncomfortable. The system rewards those who own assets, not those who work hardest. That is not motivational talk. That is structural design. And here's the disruptive truth. If your entire financial life depends on earned income, you are permanently exposed to instability. You need ownership, even if it starts small, even if it feels insignificant, because ownership scales, labor doesn't. Now let's acknowledge the constraint most people feel but don't say. It takes time, years, sometimes a decade before it feels meaningful. And in that time, life happens, expenses hit, markets drop, doubt creeps in, that's normal. But here's the shift. You are not investing for immediate relief. You are investing to change your position in the system, from dependent to leveraged. That is a long game. And long games require clarity. So here is how you act. You determine your timeline based on reality, not optimism. You decide your dominant strategy, growth through vehicles like VOO or income through vehicles like SCHD. Then you support that strategy, not dilute it, not 50-50 confusion, intentional imbalance, and then you stay with it. Through noise, through volatility, through boredom. Because here's another truth, consistency is more important than timing. Now let's bring this back to OBP. Ownership-based pay is not yet standard in the economy. That change will take time, maybe decades. You cannot wait for that shift. So you replicate it yourself, piece by piece, dollar by dollar, through ownership. That is how you close the gap between labor and leverage, between effort and outcome. Now your agency is clear. You decide to act, you decide to stay consistent, you decide to think long-term when short-term pressure tells you not to. That's where the difference is made. Quietly, over time, until one day you're no longer just working for money, your assets are working with you. And that's when the system starts bending in your favor. If this sharpened your understanding, like and subscribe. Because clarity is rare, and it compounds faster than confusion ever will. We are Citizen T, forge the future. OBP is the way.